7 February, book Talk Like TED, uh, part 1, part 1, part 1A, Unleash the Master Within, continued. The new science of passion and persuasion. Passion and public speaking are intimately connected. French philosopher Denis Diderot once said, only passions, great passions can elevate the soul to great things. Successful leaders throughout history have speculated that passions, great passions, can elevate the soul. Today, science proves them right. Neuroscientists have discovered and have been able to quantify why passionate people like TED speakers and great leaders inspire, energize, and influence other people. Before we can create and deliver more passionate presentations, we need to understand what passion is and why it works. For 10 years, Pace University management professor Melissa Cardon has made passion her passion. In her breakthrough study, The Nature and Experience of Entrepreneurial Passion, Cardon, along with four research colleagues from prestigious universities, found that passion plays a critical role in an entrepreneur's success. For one thing, passion mobilizes a person's energy and enhances his commitment to a goal. But passion does so much more. According to Cardon, entrepreneurial passion catalyzes full-blown emotional experiences, complete with engagement of brain and body responses. Cardon began her research by developing a definition for entrepreneurial passion. The common definition of passion simply didn't lend itself to academic studies and measurement. Passion is typically defined as strong amorous feelings or sexual desire, not exactly the kind of passion Cardon was interested in pursuing as an academic study. Yet, passion is thrown around constantly as a critical component of success, and I would argue is a critical element of all inspiring presentations. What exactly does it mean to have a passion for something, and more important, how can people harness their passion to improve their odds of success in life, business, and public speaking? Cardon's challenge was to identify what passion means, what it does, and how to measure it. Academically, if you can't measure something, you cannot quantify what it actually does. In order to establish passion as a robust area of study, Cardon had to develop a definition most scholars could agree on. Today, Cardon's definition of entrepreneurial passion (EP) is generally accepted in the academic literature: a positive, intense feeling that you experience for something that is profoundly meaningful for you as an individual. Cardon says that passion is something that is core to a person's self-identity. It defines a person. They simply can't separate their pursuit from who they are. It's core to their being. Passion is aroused not because some entrepreneurs are inherently disposed to such feelings, but rather because they are engaged in something that relates to a meaningful and salient self-identity for them. Carter's analysis helps explain why the most popular TED speakers connect with their audiences. They speak about topics that are salient to their self-identity. Take urban environmental consultant Majora Carter, for example. Carter's oldest brother served in Vietnam but was gunned down near their home in the South Bronx. Poverty, helplessness, hopelessness, and racial divides made Carter who she is, a passionate advocate for urban renewal. Her experience defined her and it defines her work. According to TED.com, Carter's confidence, energy, and intensely emotional delivery make her talks a force of nature. For Majora Carter, raising the hopes of those who have lost hope in core to who she is. Entrepreneurship is the core to Sir Richard Branson's identity. In 2007, Branson told the TED audience, companies are all about finding the right people, inspiring those people, and drawing out the best in people. I just love learning and I'm incredibly inquisitive and I love taking on the status quo and trying to turn it upside down. Building companies like Virgin Atlantic that challenge the status quo is core to who he is. He is. I spent a day with Richard Branson on April 22, 2013. I had been invited to accompany him on the inaugural flight of Virgin America's new route from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. On the ground and in the air, Branson was all smiles as he enthusiastically talked about customer service and how it makes a difference in the success of his brand. Branson and Carter are engaged in activities that are intensely associated with their role identities in a profoundly meaningful way. And it's that passion that plays a critical role in their career successes and their success as communicators, according to Carden. People who are genuinely passionate about their topic make better speakers. They inspire their audiences in ways that non passionate, low energy people fail to do. Carden told me, when you are passionate about something, you can't help yourself from thinking about it, acting on it, and talking about it with other people. Carden says that investors, customers, and other stakeholders are smart consumers. They know when a person is displaying genuine passion and when he or she is faking it. It's very difficult, nearly impossible, to electrify an audience without feeling an intense, meaningful connection to the content of your presentation. Passion. Why it works. The next step for Carden was to identify why passion matters. She found that passion leads to important behaviors and outcomes. Carden, along with dozens of other scientists in the field, have discovered that passionate business leaders are more creative, set higher goals, exhibit greater persistence, and record better company performance. Carden and her colleagues also found a direct correlation between a presenter's perceived passion and the likelihood that investors will fund his or her ideas. Professors Melissa Carden, Cheryl Martinez, Northeastern University, and Richard Sudek, Chapman University, performed a remarkable experiment and published the results in the September 2012 issue of the Journal of Business Venturing. The researchers set out to understand the role that passion plays in investor decision making. The business pitch is one of the most critical presentations in business. Without funding, most ventures would never get off the ground. Companies like Google and Apple would never have changed our lives if it hadn't been for charismatic, passionate leaders who grabbed the attention of investors. Is passion the only criteria on which Apple and Google investors based their funding decision? Of course not. Did the perceived passion of the founders Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, Sergey Brin, and Larry Page play a role in the investors' ultimate funding decision? It certainly did. The setting for Cardin's study was one of the largest angel investor organizations in America, Tech Coast Angels, based in Orange County, California. Since 1997, the group of individual investors has invested more than $100 million in nearly 170 companies. The sample involved investors who did not invest as a group. They made their decisions independently. From August 2006 through July 2010, 64 angel investors screened 241 companies. The screening involved a 15-minute PowerPoint presentation and a 15-minute question and answer session. Later, you will learn by 15 to 20 minutes is the ideal length of time to make a business pitch. 17% of the companies were eventually funded. The startups fell into 16 categories, including software, consumer products, medical devices, and business services. Using a 5-point scale, angel investors were asked to assess the passion and enthusiasm of the presenter by evaluating two items. The CEO is passionate about the company, and the CEO is very enthusiastic. The researchers controlled for other factors such as market opportunity, relative risk, and revenue potential, thereby isolating passion as one factor in the funding decision. Isolating passion allowed the researchers to quantify the role it played, and they discovered that passion did indeed play a very important role in the ultimate success of a business pitch. Investors based their judgment of the entrepreneur's potential on 13 criteria and were asked to rank each one in order of importance to their final decision. The strength of the opportunity and the strength of the entrepreneur were the most prized criteria, ranking numbers 1 and 2. Perceived passion came in third, well above such criteria as the entrepreneur's education, style, startup experience, or age. The researchers concluded our findings provide evidence that perceived passion does make a difference when angels evaluate the funding potential of new ventures. Perceived passion involves enthusiasm and excitement and is distinct from how prepared or committed an entrepreneur may be to their venture. Perceived passion does appear to matter to equity investors. Carter's research is essential for helping us understand why some TED presentations become internet sensations and, more important, How to unleash our own public speaking potential. Carmine, you know the old adage we tell college students that they never listen to? Do what you love. Well, it's true, says Carden. If you're starting a company in an area that you think will make you rich, but you don't enjoy the product, industry, or anything about it, that's a mistake. Carden believes it's also a mistake to believe that you can influence and inspire others by speaking about a topic that you don't love. That is not core to your identity.